So I barked on a song. Fuck off.
You shake a pretty mean cake, Batman.
I'm about to waste my fucking money on the M&M Funko.
You need to stop! Help me!
There are too many of them. What are we going to do?
Sorry I'm late. Bring me that horizon. Afraid I got lost on the path of life.
You gotta go.
What's going on, everybody?
peeps?
Sorry we are
This
late.
is,
I'm an idiot, so...
This is
Come on.
probably the latest that we have ever been in life, but we're here and we're here to do another Monday Night Mayhem, where tonight we will be looking into the sea, and we're going to be talking about urban legends, myths, and actually some things that have been proven to be real. So I have here a list of different like ocean myths and creatures, and I kind of want to see what everybody's point of view is here onto which ones could be possibly real, which ones are fake, and
I
just
do want to
like
say, before we get into everything, I just want to say, chat, of course, I'm sure you're assuming it is my fault. I had some very important things to talk with Roman that we didn't get to talk about earlier. So it needed to happen. We had to spend a little bit of time earlier, and it got a little bit farther than expected. So
yeah, there's just times, guys, where real life trumps
yeah,
this stuff. So
it was a really important conversation, and I am truly sorry with how late that we were. I know you guys are always waiting, and I appreciate that. You literally have no idea how much I appreciate all of you guys. You make my week. I swear to God, like I can't wait for these streams every week talking to you guys, and you're all just absolutely great friends, amazing people, and we've created such a good fellowship here. It's just, I'm guessing you understand that sometimes we just have shit going on, and it just needs to be talked about.
Damio, don't feel like you have to rush, bro. It's
Yeah,
fine.
don't rush, brother, man. You got the link,
No.
right?
I
Vincent, if you want to come on,
I'll drop a link in chat.
yeah, drop a link in chat. See if anybody else wants to pop in.
Y'all are more than welcome. If you,
I was getting a
if
little
you
bit
guys
emotional backstage. Sorry, was being a little bit gay, but
so I have this page opened up here. So the thing is, for like ocean legends and like myths,
Kraken's real.
and all. So the Kraken is definitely real. That one.
The Kraken. So here's the thing, real quick, with Kraken. I've always believed this. Giant squid, but there was likely a species of giant octopus that we just haven't discovered yet. Right? So that's why they always look like the octopus, right? They don't look like a squid. But
yeah,
boats were made of wood at that time when the Kraken mythology became a thing. Military vessels in the 1940s to now will dock at ports with these giant slashes on the bottom of them that are caused by giant squid in claws that are, because each one of their suckers have a claw on them because they kill whales. So, like, you have this giant squid slashing the bottom of your wooden boat. Motherfuckers are drowning. You're taking the whole thing down with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that the kraken and or giant squid is real.
Do you
Well, the
think that
giant
they
squid's
might
real. But
have?
I'm saying kraken, whether or not it's an octopus or a squid, I believe that there was a giant octopus. If they're not, is still a giant octopus that could do that.
Well,
Because we've only
well,
discovered a couple giant squid in human
well,
history. We've only discovered quite a few, and most of them are dead that have washed up on land or just are floating dead on the top of the water. And they say, oh, the biggest one is like 6 meters, and it's like, nah, dude. Like,
well. That's actually what.
these things
Well,
were
that's
taken
actually
down
what.
Viking boats, and they live in cold water. Like, it just makes sense. It makes sense that there would be a massive type of cephalopod that could
That
easily
actually.
take out that. It's wood,
That.
dude. It's wood. You hit a rock, and you're like, oh
What's up,
fuck this
Crimson?
dude. Hey,
Nothing much.
Crimson. I was
Saw a
What's up,
link in
actually
man?
chat
shout
and
out.
decided I was going to.
Real quick. Shout out to Crimson Law. We had a great conversation the other night on his channel.
Mhm.
So I just want
There
everybody
was
to
a whole
know.
40-minute rant about Halo again.
Hey, your
Anyway, I
brother
want to
came
ask,
out.
since we're on the topic of sea monsters, what's cracking?
What's cracking? No, your brother brought up
Um.
Halo, didn't he?
Hmm?
Didn't your brother bring up Halo? Who was it? Was it you or
No, my friend, the one who was the one bringing up the Star Wars stuff. He got into all the Halo stuff, and then
Yeah. Dude,
but
those guys were
let's get
cool.
sidetracked.
Those guys were really
They
cool.
are. They are. Those guys are
So
always.
I would love to
great
talk to
time.
them again. That was a lot of fun.
Well, let's get back to the
So
topic here.
so Crimson, I have a question. How
Yep.
much about the Kraken do you like actually know of? Like,
Admittedly, almost nothing. But when it comes to like cryptid talk or like undiscovered stuff, I'm always interested and have my own thoughts as we're going over this stuff. So
yeah, man, I feel you. I feel you.
Hell yeah, that's the way
So,
that I like it.
so the next one, this one's gonna, it might strum up a little bit of controversy. Nessie, the Loch Ness monster. Do you guys buy into this or no?
personally, this is the one I find hardest to believe because like I'm convinced that a lot of the photos and stuff you see are fakes or staged to some extent. Same with a lot of like the mainstream Bigfoot stuff is how I
Yeah.
feel about it. Like, do I believe that Bigfoot is real? You know what? I won't put it past being some sort of undiscovered creature out there. The world's a big place. But this one, you're talking about the Loch Ness monster. You're talking about something contained in a very specific spot, something that's kind of a unique creature that draws a lot of attention, and yet people still haven't like discovered anything about it other than some like blurry photos that you really can't make much of other than silhouettes. I'm more
Actually,
inclined
the
to
funny
believe
thing
that
is,
it's not that real.
well,
I also
actually,
say.
the funny, uh, sorry, I'm just sharing, I'm just sharing another screen here. The funny thing about that, Crimson, that you actually like brought that up, it's one confirmed picture.
Yeah,
It's
but
literally like
I have a thing to
one.
say about this.
Okay.
About this one confirmed picture. Now, this picture was taken when again?
1938.
Okay, that's before that the plesiosaur skeleton was found with
Right.
plesiosaur fossil. So you actually have a picture of an ancient plesiosaur, and I'm not saying this picture's real, because this could also be as simple as, I guess, more as complicated as that people already knew about plesiosaurs before they made it public knowledge, and then they
Right.
created something that looked like one and whatever, blah, 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 blah. But no, this was before we've actually discovered fossils. So
yeah, it also
this
could
is
be. Sorry.
exactly. I'm sorry, Crimson, but this isn't exactly a fossil, or I would say that's a plesiosaur. Now, it does not look directly like one. However, there is multiple underwater caves that stretch throughout the locks. So in Loch Ness, like there's all these other locks that are connected through these underground caves, which we've seen in Borneo. We've seen in all these other different locations across the or not America, the world. So yes, there could be underground caverns where certain animals exist, certain creatures exist. And what we're seeing here is a subspecies of a plesiosaur that happens to live in colder water. It happens to have had a biome in these underground caves that it can go through because plesiosaurs, as we know, could hold their breath for a very long time. So it would make sense to me. I'm not saying it's real. I'm just saying it would make sense to me, like from a scientific point of view.
Side by
That
side, right here.
Mhm.
Actually.
Well, one of the things, so the underground caverns thing is actually something I hadn't heard of. So I
yeah, I didn't know
will,
that either.
I
yeah,
will,
there's a ton of
I
underground
will
caves under there.
concede that point to you. My issue has been um, my issue is still this could just be an issue of coincidence. Like what was it, Back to the Future predicting that the Cubs would win the World
Well,
Cup, and they did in that year or something like that.
You're right, Crimson. But
Yeah.
real quick, let me just put something in there. Their explanation is that this was a log of wood. I have never.
I don't believe that for a second.
I have never seen wood float like that. That's the main
Is it a
explanation.
toy? Is
The
it a
main
toy?
explanation is that it's wood or a buoy, and I have never seen a buoy or wood that looks like that. Never in my life. And I've been on the ocean, and I've been in lakes so many times, and even in the west or in the east, they don't look like that. That's just not.
That's definitely
not what
not
they
a
look
log of
like.
wood, bro. That's definitely not a log of wood.
Yeah, no, I doubt that it's a log of wood. But what was okay? You guys might know this guy, but I can't remember his name for the life of me. What was the guy who was famous for traveling the world and taking photographs of these aliens or these UFOs and flying saucers? And he had this whole book about his predictions for the future and would
Oh shit!
I know who you're talking about.
He's some Scandinavian guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I looking at his photos, and they all look like the most staged pieces of UFO photography I've
I
ever
know who
seen.
you're talking about. I just forget his. Damio probably knows his name.
It's like Billy something, or I don't know. I forget. Either way, I kind of feel the same way about this.
This is what they think that the plesiosaur might have
No.
looked like.
That's not what they think it looked like. That's what they know it looked like. We have skeletons.
Mhm.
We have them in Philly. There is skeletons of plesiosaurs in Philly.
Yeah, that is what plesiosaurs are commonly accepted to look like.
Yeah,
so I do recognize that there is that similarity, and there's that time at which you didn't know what fossils were, and then all of a sudden it discovers it. But at the same time,
so they're just like turtles. Mm-hmm. They're just like turtles in the fact that they have to raise their head every certain amount of time to get some air. So where would they like to live? In a place that has a ton of underwater caves. Right?
Yes, fair enough.
It's an under the sea stream.
No, it's just an under
the sea.
Under the sea stream. Am I racist now?
No, you're only racist if you show the George Floyd version of that.
No, I'm only racist if I go on the road.
I have that saved on my PC.
So just to get everyone's thoughts here, what you guys are saying is that you don't think that the picture's real, but if it is real, it's a dinosaur?
Well, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it's not real. What I think it is that specific picture would be very strange to take a picture of something that looks that way before we even knew what a plesiosaur was. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
We had
Well-
no idea what a plesiosaur was when that picture was taken. The fossils weren't found. So either somebody knew what it was and put it out there before telling the entire world that, hey, we found this crazy like skeleton, or
Right.
it actually was real, because you only have those two options. It's either somebody already knew about it and made a fake one that just floated around, or it was a real creature that was still there. There's no other explanation, because that's something before we even discovered fossils. That was a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do
Still,
you-
though, some of these pictures, maybe it's just me, but like this one here that you have pulled up, comparing it to like what we actually think it is, doesn't
Yeah.
that make that thing look incredibly small as compared
Yes.
to everything in the way?
I agree with you. It could
And
just
the
be
issue
Yeah,
is that it
right.
also seems incredibly shaded compared to everything there.
However,
And that's where a lot of my skepticism comes from, is just looking at the photo here and being
Yeah.
like, okay, this photo doesn't look real. But I will leave this caveat for you guys. If you can prove that this photo is actually real, that there wasn't some sort
What is
of
it?
like staged element to it,
Yeah.
then I'm inclined to believe that that it's actually real. I'll give it that.
So
Damian's got a really good point. A
no,
fish
no, no.
will grow
That's
to the
no.
size of
He's
its
got a
head.
perfect point, because I literally, as you guys know, I work with fish for a living. Like, yes, it depends on the species, but these are not fish; these are reptiles. So reptiles will not do that. Reptiles will grow to as big as they need to be for their specific area. As in, like even if this reptile, which they are, plesiosaur are not fish; they are reptiles. They will be there for a while. Yeah, we got a bot in channel.
I was about to say, it looks like you got a bot.
That's a bot.
You finally made it, bro.
Get the bot
Dude.
out of here. Get the bot out of here.
Jamie, get the bot out.
Yeah, Jamie, kick that bot. Thanks, Jamie.
It's on. It's on Twitch.
Kick,
I don't have
kick
any
that-
mods on
kick that
Twitch.
and ban that bot. That's a bot.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
Could be
Loch
worse.
Ness is smaller than an ocean, but if you look at the seismographs of it, it has a ton of underground caves and caves that go in the mountains with all these different areas. Look up Loch Ness's caves. Look
Okay.
look up Loch Ness underwater caves. Map. If you can find a map of them.
Oh, perfect. Right here.
Doesn't really show any caves, just sort of shows.
I mean,
Hey,
you
talked
kinda
about
see
this
some
whole
right
thing on River Monsters, all right? But no, there's like tunnels. There's like little tunnels that go into different caves from Loch Ness to all these other places.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't put it past that. I mean, like even in some of
Oh,
like the national
maybe.
parks here in Illinois, they're like there's one Matheson, I think it is, and it's all like where like streams and stuff have carved out large portions of like the sandstone.
Yep.
There are certain places like they let you go into the water and swim around and goof off there, but there are certain places where you're not allowed to, because they have like these like sinkholes in the rock formations where the rock is eaten through that will just drag you under.
You've
And
been
hold you
there,
there.
bro, where
People-
they're like, you can't walk here because you will die. Like,
Well, not just like you can't walk there, like, no, you're not allowed to go swimming in this place, because sure, it may be like a little deep, it may be a narrow section and deep, but if you get sucked into the water going down these holes, you're stuck. Same with one of the rivers here in Illinois, the Fox River. It has those same sort of features where like the current will drag you into these deeper parts,
Yep.
these holes
You know what?
close to the bottom of the river.
That happens right near
Now
us.
that I'm now now that I'm looking at it, now that this is like a close up, I low key guys kind of see this as a toy. I think it's a toy.
Oh, it very
Like,
much could be, but how would they come up with the idea of that specific toy if they did not already know what a plesiosaur was? Because it looks too much like a plesiosaur.
Here's my thing. You know what it looks like? Looks like someone doing this in the water. You see it?
true.
No, I see it,
Yeah.
but apparently the person that took that picture was on land. And
Huh.
that's not close. That's a zoomed in like apparently that's not close. And I'm not saying I believe in the Loch Ness monster. What I'm saying is for somebody to not even know to make that as a creature. You know, like you wouldn't do this if you didn't already have the predisposed idea of something like that, which we did not
Right.
have. So even if
Well,
you're gonna fake it, you would have had to have seen something like that in general. Like
I
because
will also say
which
too.
one of
Yeah.
us is gonna come up with the idea of a turtle with a huge head that does this, and then 20 years later we find fossils of something that looks exactly like that?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
who is gonna do that?
True. True. Well,
Like
I will say.
that's the one thing that I say makes zero sense. Do I believe in the Loch Ness monster? No. Do I believe in plesiosaurs being able to travel through underground tunnels and holding their breath for a long time, going into underground air pockets, things like that, and leaving back to the open ocean? Maybe this is their breeding ground. Yes,
Yeah.
that I believe.
So I'll say, and this goes with almost every urban myth, is that there's not, at least for me, I can't speak for chat, I can't speak for you guys, but there's not enough evidence here for if people had said, "Oh, I saw it," or "Oh, I have actual video of it," then fine. But I think it's just an old urban myth that people love to talk about. I don't think there's any actual proof of this being like if it turns out to be real, fine, but I just think it's a
But
very
that might
well
just be their
made.
breeding ground, bro.
At this moment,
Yeah.
you can't find enough evidence to believe it, but you're not exactly convinced that all of it is fake and made up.
Well,
Well,
like I said, like it could be just their breeding ground. They go there. We don't know what their breeding cycle would have been. Their breeding cycle might be every freaking 10 years.
Plesiosaurs are like salmon; they just swim upstream.
They might be. Like, but the fact that they came up with the idea of a plesiosaur before plesiosaurs were even discovered, there's something
well, it's
there.
like well, it's kind of this thing. It's like how people claim that they see the Loch Ness monster. It's that kind of thing.
Well, look at the ichthyosaur right there. To the far left. Pause.
right here,
Yeah, Roman, go far left. But to the far left. That
right
right
here.
there. That ichthyosaur looks like a dolphin, does it not?
Yeah.
Okay,
With
that was
teeth?
the very first fossil ever discovered. And it was discovered by a young girl who was walking on the beach and after a storm, and the storm had weathered away the rock. And she found this fossil of an ichthyosaur.
Interesting.
And what do ichthyosaurs look like? Again, dolphins. Yet they were reptiles at the time. So who's to say that we all know that when there's a cataclysm, what survives better than anything else? Things in the air and things in the ocean. Because they can keep going. They can get away. They can get away from the cataclysm.
I was gonna say birds and alligator or crocodiles, because crocodiles have
right.
been around for a fucking long time.
Yeah, so you're right. Like crocodiles fucking were around before the meteor hit the earth, and they're alive.
think they're
So
like the
Yeah.
oldest like creature species on the earth.
yeah, they are. I'm pretty sure they are the oldest species on the earth. Crocodiles. They just went in sub areas of or alligator and caiman and what's the other one with the really long face? I'm surprised I don't remember it right now.
I thought that was a caiman.
No,
The one with
caimans
like
are
the really
caimans
narrow
are the really
snout.
tiny alligators. Gharial. It's a gharial.
Okay.
The gharials have the really long face, but still, like they all survive. Roman, delete that chat from the chat because that's just like annoying.
I
Hello,
don't
sorry
know.
for bothering you. I want to offer promotion for your channel viewers, followers, views, chatbots, etc. We don't have chatbots. We have real fucking chatters. You dumb fucking.
Yeah, we have real unpaid mods.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Our
other
mods are
coders
glad to
can
be here to
take
be
that.
unpaid. You stupid bot.
Roman's communist utopia in action.
Hey man, listen. This is what happens when you go socialist.
Yeah, when we get actual like members, it should be like communist. It should be like member 1.
Bolshevik, Commissar.
Delete
No,
message.
just
Got it. Okay.
comrade,
Supreme leader would
Bolshevik,
be the highest one.
Commissar.
Supreme leader
Alright,
would be the
so-
highest one. If you're spending $50 a month, you can be supreme leader level.
So I think I have a fun one here now. Even though there's like I've never seen
Oh, we're
people
delving
say
into
that
SpongeBob now. Okay, this isn't my wheelhouse.
I've never seen people say anything about like the Flying Dutchman being like real, but the Flying Dutchman is a legendary ghost ship, allegedly never able to make port, but doomed to sail the seven seas forever. The myths and ghost stories are likely to have originated from the 17th century golden age of the Dutch East India Company and of
Yeah.
Dutch
That's why it's in Pirates
maritime
of the
power.
Caribbean.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, the Flying Dutchman is fucking
Mhm.
badass.
It's
It's
again like a
Grim
cool
Reaper.
legend and all of that, but like, do I believe this one?
The legend is the Grim Reaper of the seas. It's unbelievable. It's just sailors would say they saw a ship. It's just a full legend about the Grim Reaper of the seas, basically. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, for all of those on land, you had the Grim Reaper, but for the seas, the Flying Dutchman would come and take you to the land of the dead. That's it.
So here is like the crazy one, guys. Leviathans were actually real.
Yeah.
I believe in Leviathans. Have you ever seen the megafauna? Like dire wolves and megalania and like the
Mhm.
giant
Like the North American, I think there's like a North American like tiger or something.
yeah, the North American lion. That's what it was.
Yeah.
American
No,
lion.
but
Huge.
okay, so I'll get a little bit like religious on this one, but this kind of stuff like the Leviathan is directly mentioned in like the Old Testament. The
oh,
Bible.
dude, go religious.
If you want,
I don't care. Let's
if you want to subscribe to
let's go.
the idea that like these are real like stories and stuff. There's this whole thing about God talking to Job about a creature called the Leviathan. And I don't remember the exact things that were described, but like as a Christian, I take that to be like, well, there was something massive that used to live in the ocean. And well, there kind of are still massive things that live in the ocean. I mean, we have blue whales and all that, giant squids, that kind of stuff.
So this is like an artist's rendition of what they think that like the like Leviathan might have looked like. That thing is huge.
Well, not just that, but then we get stuff like Jorgenmander, like the world serpent from Norse mythology.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's not uncommon to see these sort of massive like sea serpents appear in mythologies. So
that's what I'm saying.
I think that does lend some historical context to the fact that this was a very like real creature, whether it's still alive or if it was just at some point in history. I do think this one is real.
I genuinely believe you, and I think that there's way too many people I don't necessarily subscribe to the fact that it is one thing that can live millions of years. I more so think that it is a species, because that can get us into our next topic in a second that I want to talk about. But I genuinely believe that it is there are creatures. I mean, we've discovered more about space than we have about our own planet.
Yeah.
And something that large
Do you
that can
guys
survive
remember?
that long, like who's to us to say that we're the longest living creature on the planet? It's bullshit because turtles outlive us. Tortoises.
I was about to say, hold on, who says that? Because turtles live for like 200 years, don't they?
Yeah, people say that. So it's like I genuinely believe that, yeah, there are creatures like this that are out there. And I plan on talking about this with Daimyo. You know, I don't know if we're doing it next week or the week after that, but we would be talking about Operation Paperclip and things like that. But they do mention some certain things. And I was going to bring up, all right, wait. Go back for a second.
What?
Go back for a second. Scroll down right there, right below it, right next to your mouse, far to the right.
Right here.
Up one.
Subnautica.
Right,
That's Subnautica.
right here.
That's literally Subnautica.
No,
Oh, the
it's
one
literally
talking
screenshots
about-
out of Subnautica. No, the other, there was another one. Go up. It
Oh.
looks like a.
Oh, fuck. Go up.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Right there.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yes. That's literally
Anyway,
Subnautica.
there's one thing I do want to bring up as far as to your point of we know almost nothing about the ocean. There are still, like, have you ever heard the stories about like sonar recordings and stuff from the ocean
That's
that
what
are
I
just
was gonna get
completely
into.
unexplained?
That's what
Like, you get these random like distorted whale calls and stuff. You get like random like extremely loud noises in the ocean, and nobody can explain what they
Have
are.
you ever heard about them?
Really fast.
So have you ever heard about the ones that the whales are calling to, but it's not like you hear the whales separately from what it is?
Huh. No, I haven't heard that
I've
one.
never heard that.
Roman, look up
I would
exactly what I told you about. Take this screen off real quick.
I got you.
I'll put it in private chat, but we'll continue to talk about that. Crimson, you finish what you were saying.
No, that's all I had to say was that kind of like there are some genuine things out there that yeah, the bloop that like are just completely unexplained about the ocean. So, like you were saying, Roland, I don't think it's specifically one creature that has lived for an eternity. I think you're right to say it is a species.
Roman,
My point on it was being like whether it's existed or not was more so like it might be a species that just went extinct at some point and we don't see it anymore. And because of their extreme environment on the bottom of the ocean, we don't see any proof of their existence.
Yep.
Or it might just be the fact that the ocean is so vast and there's so little we can do to explore it that we have a hard time finding them.
Well, we've only been to a
Right.
small percentage of the abyssal plain. Which, by the way, I just have to say, whoever named the abyssal plain is a badass, because that's one of the coolest names of any location on our planet. Like the
No
abyssal
freaking
plain.
kidding.
That's fucking sick. They're like, "Welcome to the abyssal plain." It's like
Sounds like I'm about to battle a demon lord in the void.
yeah,
Talking
right.
about
That's
that.
like some Dark Souls shit. Like that's fucking cool. But if you look up the recording of this thing, it actually, it's sound, and it sounds like close enough to a whale's mating call that you're like, this thing is massive. It makes more decibels than a whale did, and it took them years. It took scientists years to just go, oh well, that must have just been an ice shelf collapsing.
I don't know if it was like The bloop isn't the one that sounds like the whale call. The bloop is just a really, really loud noise they detected in the ocean, which is why they attributed it to, being like a ice shelf collapsing or whatever, because they want a logical explanation. The other one that I was talking about, the whale call, it was like this random it was this like
That's
random
so
noise
weird.
they found in the ocean that was like, it sounded like a whale call, but once they started analyzing it, there was so much different that they kind of concluded it was like a deformed
Different species.
whale or like a completely new species of whale that they had
It's
no
not a
idea what it was.
deformed whale. Because
That's one of the explanations I heard.
Well, it's because of the kilometers that it traveled. Like the bloop they said was an ice shelf collapsing. So I highly disagree with that, because if an ice shelf collapsed in Antarctica, it would have massive effects on South America and South Africa.
Like a tsunami kind of thing, right?
Exactly. So none of that happened. And you're telling me that we don't have none of the people that were stationed in Antarctica on our, which by the way, that's a whole different subject of Antarctica, but we had people there from different countries that reported this shit. There was no ice shelf collapsure. There was nothing like that. None of that ever happened. And if it did, it would have massive effects. So if it actually happened, we would have known about it. There would have been a tsunami at least one place in the world that was talked about. Yet it wasn't, and there also was not a tsunami that happened anywhere after the bloop. And the bloop was recorded in multiple different locations.
Yeah, there's that, and we probably would have been able to find some sort of evidence of, say, an ice shelf collapsing into the ocean, because that would have to be a huge chunk of ice. You would probably be able to find it from like a satellite or something if you really wanted to.
You absolutely would, and because of not only that, the people that are stationed on Antarctica that are scientists studying that specific thing, the seismic activity, would be able to understand that, oh, there's seismic activity coming. Like, this is what it was. But they always said for years, we don't know what it is. And then when us, our laymen's, we started fucking talking about it, they're like, oh, well, it's just an ice shelf collapsing. Don't worry about it. It's like, well, that would have been national news, international news. And this was before all of that. We did highlight your chat, you old goober.
We did, and I didn't say, Damio, where are you?
Yeah, where the fuck are you?
We're literally waiting for you, bro. Like, no, but so like the bloop was a sound, but why am I seeing a creature here?
Play the video.
Right. I found it right here. Okay. I'm gonna share this tab.
Dramatic music.
I thought that was in the video. Let it go.
Interesting.
So from what I've heard, that sound was recorded from the coast of South Africa and it reached to Antarctica. Like, it was loud. It was like something doing a mating call. Like, but it was nowhere near any place that whales could have answered from, like, that area. Well, Caleb, the government actually talked about this for like a blip. They were like, "Oh, by the way, this crazy sound was recorded," and then they just kept going about like, "Oh, Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky." You know, like it just went to the next thing. Like they didn't even say nothing on it.
Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky, blowjobs.
Yeah, literally. Like they just go over it the same way they went over the alien shit.
So is this what they theorize that this like blue creature is? It's just like a super
they
giant.
just-
What what the hell is that next to the picture of Antarctica there?
Yeah, that's like awesome.
thing?
That is a cursed
That looks
looking
like
thing.
yo, you know what that looks like, Kirsten? That looks like the brother from Jujutsu Kaisen. Season 1.
I
Doesn't
know what you're talking about.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. The gay brother and the other brother. And then
You're talking about like there's a green, ugly looking one, right?
Yeah, the green one is like got like the two eyes with the small face and then the big mouth. Yeah. Exactly what that looks like.
So if this is what this is, this thing is huge. If this is what this is.
Well, they're saying
This
it would
thing
have
is-
to be they're saying it would have to be a creature big enough to swallow a blue whale to make that sound.
Well, this is like apparently the comparison of it. I don't know how true this is, but
I think that's the one they actually came up with, where it would have to be something at least that big, and they're not saying it's not a massive whale.
Well,
It's something we
here's
haven't
another
discovered.
point on top of like these like big creatures and stuff, that there's a guy out there whose whole channel is talking about like the megafauna in fiction, like Godzilla and stuff, and talking about how like the energy consumption needed for some of these massive creatures is just unrealistic. And like, yeah, I won't bring up like the physical part of it, where like the creature gets so big that its own bones aren't strong enough to support its weight. Because this is in the water, a creature can swim. The issue you get once, like, that's a blue whale, that would make this thing massive. How does this thing maintain enough energy to keep itself alive when it's that big?
so are you saying that you're skeptical? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
No, I'm not really saying I'm skeptical of this. My issue is that it brings up a whole lot of questions about some of this stuff that I've heard from people who like actually take a serious interest in biology, that we would need some serious answers to. And it would bring up like a whole idea of like, what kind of food source do these creatures have that has them so big?
Well, that's not necessarily true, because a blue shark being 6 feet long, right?
Mm-hmm.
A blue shark only needs to eat once a year.
Really?
Yeah. Once or twice a year.
I didn't know
If
that.
it's So, the interesting thing here is that this might not even be a predatory animal. This could be a filter feeder. And being a filter feeder, it could eat as much food in that general time of a certain specific animal's spawning or a specific, plankton's type of area, that they could just eat a ton of it at once and they're good to go for years on end. Because all it does is just filter feed from that point on. And it doesn't even need to filter feed from that point on, because it doesn't need that much energy to just sit around and float. It needs the energy to swim. Does it need the energy to float? No. It goes up when it knows it needs to go up.
Damio's nutty.
So, what I'm saying is...
I'm more concerned about what Ronnie was saying.
Yeah, Ronnie, go back to school. What I can say about the bloop as a creature is, if it were to exist, we still have zero idea.
That looks like a Pacific Rim thing.
Yeah, right. to this day, we have no idea where blue whales actually mate and where they give birth. There might be a creature like this that just goes, I'm ready to go. And as soon as they're done mating, kills them. And that's why they're so rare. Because we might have something big enough that just takes out a blue whale, which is the biggest mammal on the planet, and it's good to go for years.
So your theory is that, like, say that,
We
this
have
thing's
zero
real,
idea
right?
where blue whales mate. We have zero idea where they come from. We don't know where they mate, what they do. We know nothing about them.
Blue whales
And
are aliens.
So,
They come from Uranus.
no, those are dolphins.
so,
So long and thank you for the fish.
so what
Crimson
you're
got my
saying
joke.
is, so what you're saying is, if this bloop is possibly real, what you're saying is that it might it might not need to eat for years at a time, being that huge. I'm just saying, you know fish better than me. I would think that the bigger that the fish is, it would need to eat more.
Not if it
But
just doesn't need any. We don't know what the currents are like down there fully. It could just sit there and it just floats. Filter
true.
feeds, filter feeding. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Could just be something that
there's
rides deep sea ocean
there
currents
is
around.
sharks that are, 6 meters long that have survived for over 200 years by just filter feeding. Like, this thing could literally just chill. It might not even be aggressive. Like, it might just be an animal that just hangs out and just
Just
for
hanging around.
like 1,000 years and just be okay. Like, I'm not saying they live that long, but I'm saying you don't necessarily need to exert energy in order to get energy.
Yeah,
And I
I
have
just
fish at my work that don't exert any energy to eat. It just filters right into them, and they chill there, and they're like this big, but like they literally just chill there, and the food comes to them. Like,
Hell, jellyfish are like the ultimate lazy sea creature. They just float
exactly.
around and whatever walks into their mouth, they eat.
Yep. And those motherfuckers are like the size of a school bus. Some of them.
Yeah, well, there were plenty of them when I went to Gulf Shores earlier this year. Tons of them in the water.
so I guess the question here, guys, is
Oh my
do we
god,
think that
Caleb, go fuck yourself.
moving on, do we think that
Just gonna go
do
away.
we do we think that this bloop creature is real or no?
Yes.
Honestly, I feel like it's one of those situations where there's too much left off the table. I do not buy the story that it's an ice shelf collapsing, but I don't see enough proof to support any conclusion on it. Right now, it's just kind of an unanswered mystery to me.
So it's kind of like how we feel about like the Loch Ness monster. It's kind of like
Okay,
just
so
like solved like mystery thing.
You
so
can't
that
come to a conclusion because there's a lack of proof, kind of. Yeah.
so that's how I feel with Crimson.
That's how you
Because
feel about me?
no no. I say that's how I feel like with you. Like, yes. Is there enough
I know.
explanation? No. However, is there a reason that it doesn't exist? No, because we've only discovered at this point in our lifetime, we've gone from 3% to 7% of discovery of the ocean
That's
since,
it.
like in my lifetime, from like 2000 to now, we went from 3% discovery to 7% discovery. So we are so fucking stupid. Like, that's the one thing that humans don't remember, is that we're dumb as fuck.
I think Twitter's a constant reminder of that.
Yeah, like we're
Facts.
retarded. Like we have done more things in space than discover our own oceans. Like, we're absolutely fucking stupid.
Yes, we are. I agree with that statement.
Like, that's just the fucking
So,
truth. And if looking at Twitter and
so,
looking at you, like, we're dumb as fuck. So, like,
so,
us
but
to go and
you're
perceive that we know anything about the deepest part of the oceans because we went down in a 10-meter fucking area and then checked it out and then came back up and we're like, that's the bottom of the ocean. That's what it's like. Like, you're fucking stupid. Like, that's like us sending one thing to Mars and going, that's what Mars is like. The whole planet, that's what it's all like. Good job.
so what?
Like it's so dumb. That would be like, we wouldn't do that with Earth. We wouldn't send one probe to Earth if we were on Mars. We wouldn't send a singular probe to Earth and then go,
And send it to Pennsylvania.
yeah, you send it to fucking Pennsylvania and you're like, the whole planet is mountains and pine trees.
Send it
Like,
to Illinois. Wow. It's just a lot of corn here.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And
Like,
taxes. Why are there so much taxes on this
and we're
planet?
doing
Oh
that
my
with our
God.
oceans. Like, we're like, all
Oh my
right, all the
God.
ocean.
Okay,
floors-
everyone stop. Everyone stop.
Oh God
Roman,
damn it, he's here.
What did you want to say?
I was just waiting for it.
I was just gonna say that I don't think it's
Dario,
fair.
you stupid son of a bitch.
I'm not laughing at Daimyo. I'm laughing at this guy.
I was just gonna say I don't think it's fair to rule anything out in terms of like what's in the ocean because we've seen so little of it. So I'm not saying that
We didn't
I'm not
actually
saying
see
that
a
like
giant squid.
Hang on. You had your minute.
I'm not saying that the bloop is real, but I wouldn't be shocked if we somehow found out that it was.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and go now, guys. I just wanted to hop because he was really struggling, and I really wanted to let my, especially after
Caleb,
the
don't leave.
derogative comment I just said. I really wanted to let my man speak.
Roman, you
Roman,
need to get
Rolla,
yourself
Crimson,
a
love y'all.
talking
See
stick.
you later.
Caleb, get your ass back in here. You son of a bitch. Just don't wanna sit
Roman, you
here-
basically
Oh.
need to just have a talking stick and just hold it up whenever you need it.
No. I see to snap my fingers and shut up, Rolo is what I need. Nah, but I'm just saying I find it funny that like Damio's in chat, but he's not here.
Oh, yeah, that's
That's
what I
all.
said to him earlier, and he came in John's stream.
Yeah.
Now, as far
No.
as like coming to a conclusion on the bloop and stuff, I want to add this one thing. When I say there's so little proof about it, that basically means you can just logically come to just about any conclusion you want. If you want to
there's
say,
no video or like there's no video or photos of it. So like
you want
we
to
don't
say
even
it's a
know what it
sea
looks like.
monster?
I wouldn't even believe
Sure,
the video.
go ahead. You want to say it's aliens? Sure, go ahead. Or some sort of like human weapons thing? Sure, go ahead. But we're at the point still where we know almost nothing about it other than that it happened. So we can't rule anything out other than the fact that it definitely wasn't an ice shelf collapsing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Agreed.
And the fact that multiple world governments were like, "Oh, it's an ice shelf collapsing." Me being in the environmental world, I know for a fact that if an ice shelf that large were to collapse, and that's what other people in my field have said, like, it would have caused catastrophic tsunamis for certain areas. And because of the sound that sound was recorded on the other side of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever this creature is, or whatever this is, which I do believe it's an animal, and I feel bad for said animal because I feel like it's trying to call out for something else, as the same way that whales do. A whale can travel, its sound can travel for 4 kilometers at least. So, like, whatever this animal is, for its massive size, bigger than a blue whale, like, it would have to be able to travel for like it could probably hit the other side of the planet with just one vibration, one click, one, and it just goes. But like, for something to collapse into the water like that, like right now we're worried about the Canary Islands collapsing, because if the Canary Islands collapse, then it affects all of fucking Florida in the East Coast. And they're flooded. They're gone. And right now they're talking about the Canary Islands collapsing. And if they do, we have a fucking worldwide event going on. So you're talking about one animal that can and just make a sound that travels all the way up to the Antarctic. Like, dude. Like that's, and nothing happened. Nothing happened to anywhere else. That's just a sound. There's no way an ice shelf collapsed. That's physically impossible.
Oh,
If it was an earthquake
I'm
on the bottom of the ocean, it would
I'm with
still
you.
have effects.
I'm with you. So I wanted to. This is
Well, I do have something else to say about the bloop, though. And it's
Sure.
not just
Yeah.
the bloop. Have y'all ever heard about
The blob?
the 30-foot shark?
30-foot shark. No.
It's a great white. It's the biggest. I think it was actually like 26 or 28 feet long. It was the biggest shark ever tagged. And
You know what Jaws is based off of?
no, this was after that. And they let, it was a female great white. They tagged her and they let her go. Right? And they're just watching to see what, for research purposes. It was no ill intent or anything like that. It was just for research
Oh my
purposes.
God, this thing's huge.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Well, that's a dead one, I think. I forget what her name was. They named her. Look up the biggest shark ever tagged.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna stop sharing this. Biggest shark ever tagged.
Yeah, look that up real quick. There's a whole story about it. How
He's been in it ever since because no one was with him.
it literally just disappeared, and they found the tracker by itself, floating on the top of the water. The tracker had a buoy on it.
The shark evolved arms.
It was 3,500 pounds. That's wild.
That's huge.
Yeah, so this shark was 2.5 school buses long or something like that.
I love how in America we use everything but the metric system. It's like,
yeah, right. We're
2.5
school
buses long.
Or it was like 2 school
Hey,
buses.
Roland.
Whatever.
So something cool about like what you said was that you were actually 30 feet off. There was actually a shark larger than the 30-foot shark. I have it pulled up here.
A 60-foot
It
shark?
was 62 feet long, bro. 62
Was
feet
it a
long.
great white? Or was it a white? There's a difference.
I was about to say it has whale shark highlighted there.
Yeah, whale shark is the biggest shark.
Oh, okay. Are we talking about the?
No. I'm talking about the great white, which is a predatory shark that stays by the surface. They don't really move past the surface of the water that much. That's what Jaws is based off of. So the what I heard is, and what I've researched, I should say, is that this specific shark was tagged and followed for, I want to say, a week or two before they lost the tracker. So they're not following it. She had a name. They named her.
Was her name Deep Blue by
Yes.
chance?
No, that's the movie.
Oh,
But the movie
well,
actually might have been named after her. Was it 20
so
feet?
this one's 20 feet, 20 feet, 13 feet, 12 feet.
20 feet is
Uh,
still a huge shark, though.
yeah, no. I think it's Deep Blue because I think the movie was named after her. But
20 feet is huge. That's literally like 2 shacks.
yeah,
Like,
so
I was
she
gonna say, if I go into the great room of this house, it's 18 feet to the ceiling. So, like, I can imagine that's a huge freaking shark.
yeah. So what's crazy about Deep Blue is that she actually like they knew about great whites. Everybody knows that sharks need to keep swimming. Actually, I'm not going to say everybody because some people don't know this. Sharks need to keep swimming constantly.
They don't have the same buoyancy glands that fish do, right?
Exactly. So a shark needs to keep swimming 24/7. They tagged her. They shot her. They don't like actually catch them. They shoot them with a dart. That dart has a buoyancy gland on it with a tracker. And that sticks through their fin where they don't have as much nerve cells. So it just floats there. It doesn't hurt the shark that much. And then no matter how deep or how high the shark goes, they can track it. Just for scientific purposes. They're not trying to hunt it or anything like that. And
just,
she went like this, right? She's going, and after day 3, just went. And they're like, what the fuck? And keep in mind,
yeah.
if a shark goes down to the bottom of the ocean, they're dead because of their buoyancy glands. Will die. 100%. This shark dives down. But its heart rate, which this tracker actually radiated, their heartbeat was fine. But they noticed it getting faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, like the shark was freaking out. But the shark just kept going down and down and down and down and down and down and down. And then for another 3 days, traveled at the bottom of the ocean. Slowly. Just kept moving. And then boom, just went up. Out of nowhere. And when they went to go and get the tracker back, it was just the tracker with a chunk of fin. So what they believe is that because of the fact that because the tracker would have turned off if the shark's heartbeat had stopped, the tracker would have detached and gone up back up. But the shark was alive, meaning that this shark was swallowed whole by something big enough to swallow a 20-foot shark whole. And the shark was alive in its body for 3 days.
It was a blue.
The tracker was shit out and went up. And it traveled at the very bottom of the ocean where a shark itself would have been crushed.
So what you're saying
Great white
is
shark of that size would have been crushed by the pressure of the water. And it traveled for 3 days at the bottom of the ocean. And then all of a
what
sudden
you're
they
saying
found
is
the tracker.
what you're saying is that there is a massive creature, a
Big
creature
enough
that's
to
bigger,
swallow a 20-foot
that's
shark.
oh my
Whole.
god, dude.
Whole. Not chew it up. Literally swallow it whole.
You think it might be a whale?
That's wild.
You think it was
No,
a
I think
whale?
it's the fucking
'Cause
bloop, bro. That's why I'm going back to that shit. I think it's the bloop. Whatever the hell that creature is, something that big could literally just go yeet, and the whole thing is in its stomach already. And it has no idea what the fuck just happened. And it's just living in its stomach for a couple days until it gets digested, and then it gets shit out. And the only thing that gets shit out is the fucking tracker. That happened. But no one talks about this shit. You don't see that shit on the news, but you can look it up. Like it actually did happen. There was this shark that traveled for 3 days on the bottom of the ocean, and scientists were baffled. They were like, "This is impossible. There's no way something, even if it's this big, there's no way it could survive with the way that its body structure is. Could a giant squid survive down there? Yes. Could like sperm whales survive down there? Not that deep. Like there's certain creatures that could survive down there, but not a great white shark." And they literally watched it. You can find the video where they watch the tracker, and it literally goes like this and stops, and then just goes, like after a couple minutes, just goes and straight dive down to the bottom of the ocean, miles down, fast, which is impossible. It would kill it. If it was by itself, on its own, just doing that, it would die not even halfway down, not even a third of the way down. It would die. And it made it miles down to the bottom of the ocean and then continued to travel. So it would have had to have been inside something else. It's 10 times bigger than it.
That's actually crazy. That's actually crazy.
That's quite the thing to think about there, actually.
And that's one that we actually seen. Like that's one that humans actually were studying.
So
and we had followed the shark for days, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Wait, what happened to her?" Like they were worried about her. They were like, "What the fuck? Like, why is she all the way down? Like, what happened?" Because it's the same way that like Jane Goodall would be like if like one of her apes just disappeared. You know, you'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like I've been following this creature for days and days and days and days and days, and all of a sudden they're gone. Like that's not like them. You know, we've been watching this thing forever. That's not like her. And then all of a sudden she's just gone.
So there's something.
All they found was the tracker with a piece of fucking skin on it, dude. Like,
yeah. There's something that I wanted to, kind of like comment on. Something that you said earlier, that you're saying that humans sent down a camera to the bottom of the sea and like apparently captured video showing what the bottom of the sea's like.
The abyssal plain.
Do you Right. So like do you think, being like the skeptics that me and you and Crimson are, that could have been faked, or do you think that they showed a certain angle?
No. I think we absolutely have sent them down there. I just don't think it does jack shit because we haven't mapped out, but we know nothing about that. It's an entirely different realm. We would literally have to have vehicles that could travel the entirety of the bottom of the ocean, which 75% of the world is.
Mm-hmm.
We would have to. It's the difference between looking at a topographical map, pretty much like what we know about the ocean. It's the difference between looking at a topographical map and actually going there in person. We know generally what the terrain looks like because we can use seismic readings, we can use sonar and all of that to get a general idea of what the bottom of the ocean is shaped like. But the amount we actually know about the fine detail of it is it's minute. Like we have been only down to like certain areas and have only been able to explore certain parts of it. And I mean, like, there was the the stuff with the Titan sub going to where the Titanic is, but like
the Titanic's an interesting mystery too. That's something that I've always wondered about, because there's like theories that say that like a sea creature actually knocked it down. That like yeah, it hit and iceberg, but I don't know, Crimson, if you've ever heard this theory ever. Roland and I talked about it on an episode a long time back, but basically the the Titanic was like cut in such a way that it crashing into an iceberg, it doesn't make sense for it to be cut in that way because it was cut directly down the middle, but the iceberg hit it in on its side.
Hey, Great
Yeah.
That's
Pilgrim! Real quick, just hail the
so
Great Pilgrim.
Well,
yes,
as
sir.
far as yeah, Pilgrim shows up in my chat, so salute to you, sir. As
Yeah,
far as the Titanic goes,
Pilgrim, I'm gonna send you the link.
I have I've read. I used to have this book that I would read about the Titanic, and like all of the stuff surrounding its sinking. There is I saw the diagram of how the actual iceberg is supposedly hit the Titanic across its side, but as far as it being split down the middle and collapsing, I don't exactly know if I believe the sea monster thing. Sure, it could happen. I'm not putting it outside of the realm of possibility. But
Yeah.
here's what I will say is according to the people who actually witnessed the sinking of the Titanic, the ship basically went from this to this. And now an object that heavy raising up out of the water, already in distress, would I put it past that giving way? No. And I think that's probably the more plausible explanation to why it split.
It also has to do with the boiler because they had always said that the boiler is what blew up, and that caused the explosion and caused the ship to break in half, and that does happen.
Yeah, I mean a steam explosion caused Chernobyl, so I could see the whole boiler thing.
Yeah. So they were saying that the ship got hit, it sunk, but what went down first, the front of the ship or the back of the ship?
I don't recall.
Hold on.
Because if it was the front of the ship,
I think it would have been the front of the ship because that would have been the part that flooded.
I believe it was the front of the ship because that's where the movie ends, right? Where you see the actual propellers on the back of the boat in the movie.
The front half of the ship sunk first. It was the
Can't
front
wait
half
for
of
the Titanic 2 to come out.
Wait, is that actually a thing?
Yeah, they're actually doing it, and it's going to set sail the same exact course.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a movie, The Titanic 2. No, you're talking about an actual ship.
I'm talking about real life. They're doing this.
That's going to be cursed. That's going to be a cursed ship.
Well, it's going to be extra cursed now because they named the fucking submarine Titanic 2 and blew up. They imploded.
The Titan 2, not the Titanic 2. It was called the Titan 2. But, I mean, as if saying God can't even sink this ship wasn't enough. They're gonna pull this.
God was like, "Fuck you, bitch."
They're gonna pull this crap again. Really?
Yeah, no, they have that much hubris. They literally have that much hubris that they would.
I mean,
just do it again.
Call me superstitious. Call me superstitious, but why would you try something like that again?
Well, it might not be happening now, Ronnie, but a year ago it was. It was a big announcement, and all these different people signed up for it.
Titanic 2.
Yeah, that's Ronnie. That's what I'm saying.
Look, I'm not saying I want people to die, but I just generally wouldn't mind if a bunch of big world leaders from the UN, the World Economic Forum, and corporate owners like Bill Gates were on there and it hit another iceberg. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, in Minecraft. In
Minecraft, right.
I'm just saying
that was 2020. It was supposed to set sail in 2021, but COVID happened. So
what? So what if it does the same thing again?
Pilgrim.
Yeah. Bye Gates. What if it sails the same course and the same thing were to happen again? That would be really scary.
Well, maybe that's where the
Like,
I would say that's proof
rivalry-
that there is a God in this world. So
Yeah, I believe that God's like, there's a reason you shouldn't go this way. Well, maybe there is, like I said, maybe there is a Leviathan. Maybe the Leviathan resides in the northern seas. We don't know.
maybe the Leviathan is the friends we made along the way.
Maybe the Leviathan is the friends we made along the way. It's just Mauler just chilling in the ocean. He's just like, Ahsoka was bad. Rings of power shit. I know Crimson gets that joke a little bit more than. Well, Roman knows Mauler now because he watched the theory video with him. But
what's up,
maybe
Doomer?
Mauler's just there and he's just like, oh, mate, this fucking Loki is just fucking shit.
Well, it was from the beginning, but that's a completely different topic. We're talking about the ocean here.
Oh, no.
So,
But it'd be so funny, dude. I would honestly be okay if, like, an Eldritch God appeared in front of me and it was just Mauler. I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm all right with this one.
Is that your headcanon now?
Yeah,
Mauler is an Eldritch God.
That's what a lot of everybody
The Eldritch God of film.
Yeah, he's the Eldritch God of film, bro. He's just like, it's just
that's
there.
how people view Dave. I mean, hey, so yeah.
No,
No,
Dave is just one of the 7 princes of hell. The 7 princes of wokeness.
So I have a so what do you guys think about there be like the possibility of there being like mermaids or sirens out there?
Came from somewhere. I think it was dolphins, but came from somewhere.
You think that these sailors were so horny they would get attracted to dolphins?
No.
Don't answer that, because I know that actually that would be a thing.
I said no, I don't. I think that hearing singing from the ocean
I got the article right
and
here.
being a drunk, I think, hey, well, there's too many titties, there's too much side boobs.
I was gonna say there's some nice side boob there. I approve.
Too much side boob for YouTube. No, but
I
I
don't care.
genuinely think that the singing from the ocean came from either hearing whales or dolphins.
Yeah, it says there is definitely something very appealing about the idea of a beautiful mythical creature that is part human and part fish who lives under the sea, calling his sailors.
Hold on,
Historical accounts
the
of
original thing was that they sang to you and they were beautiful, so they could drag you in and eat you alive. There is nothing beautiful or mythical about that. Like, mythical, yes, but beautiful, no. Like, they were supposed to be beautiful creatures that came to your side of your boat so they could go, and you would just be like, I'm drunk on rum. Yeah, that's some titties. Let me jump in. And then you just jump in and you fucking get dragged down and drown and eaten alive.
Hey, Roller, would you mind singing that beautiful song for us again?
Sounded a little bit like Game of Thrones, like like John's stream earlier. If anybody saw that, it was like Caleb played an amazing song. I need Caleb back just so we can play it again. That's what it would sound like. Fucking
so
just so I could hear that song.
So what it says here is historical accounts of mermaid sightings include one by Christopher Columbus, who was sailing near the Dominican Republic in 1493 when he saw 3 rising out of the water. He wrote in his diary that they're not half as beautiful as they are painted. That's because he wasn't looking at Disney's Ariel and her sisters. He looks like he spotted a manatee. Okay. So
I was about to say we're okay. Christopher Columbus is your source. The dude thought he sailed around the world and he landed in the wrong spot. So, I mean,
it says that in folklore, Disney's romantic version of the undersea world of Merbeople plays out a bit differently. Some regard the Assyrian goddess Targetis from 1000 BC as the first mermaid. One version of the Atargetis myth has her falling in love with a shepherd whom she accidentally killed. Based. Wrapped with grief, she flings
Please,
herself into the ocean.
Man, fucking hate shepherds much?
fucking base.
Damn, going full racist up in here, huh? What did shepherds ever do to you?
You should have seen me
I
in
mean, this guy finally gets
in
something other than a sheep to fuck, and you're pissed. You're celebrating that he's dead.
you should have seen me in Daimyo's Discord last night. I
Bro,
was
I was
annihilating people.
Crimson was just lurking, dude. I was working.
I was there like the whole time.
Hey, Pilgrim! Fuck,
Left.
yes. God damn it.
I called Pilgrim some slurs because he kept turtling me.
So where was I? Oh, okay. Wrapped with
Hey,
grief,
Pilgrim.
she flings herself into the ocean in an attempt to turn into a fish. Okay. bet.
It's fucking whack. What?
I will atone by
Because of
becoming
her
a
beauty,
fish.
though.
I will atone by fish.
I already smell like one. I might as well become one.
Oh my goodness me. Fucking gracious.
This is just turning into the Roller Rome cast, bro.
Yeah, no, but I'm like, this is like more fun, dude.
You said it was Monday Night Mayhem. I'm making it mayhem.
No, it is. It is. It is.
So in Hans Christian Andersen's I don't care about the story. Tell me about mermaids. I don't care. Okay. Other legends depict mermaids as vixens who seduce homesick sailors and drive them down to the underwater sea palaces. They cause storms and shipwrecks. They they lure sailors to their death with their songs.
Joke's on you. All the mermaids are black with red hair.
Singing Nicki Minaj
Bruh.
to get you to go under the water.
And they have this really annoying ass fucking seabird that just squawks at you.
Imagine that you get brought down under the sea and like the last thing that you hear is like WAP by Cardi B, bro. Like,
That chick brings all the boys to the yard.
No, you like go down there and it's the walking. I wouldn't walk in a knock. It's like that fucking bullshit for the Little Mermaid. Like,
Aquafina trying
like,
to rap.
kill me, just eat me already. Do it, and please let me die. And they're like quack quack, the walk. And you're like, oh, fucking. They just torture you.
Tell me what's the scuttlebutt.
God damn it!
So-
I hate this world. I hate the timeline that we live in. Now Furbies have pronouns. No, all right, this is becoming the Roller Room cast now. I just wanted the Doctor Who joke.
So there is one more thing that I want to bring up. I'm trying to buy Daimyo time here, but there is like one more serious topic that I do want to cover. I sincerely hope that he's not gonna be covering this on his Pilgrim. What's up, man?
Hey, he's finally talking to us.
No, he fucking isn't. He's
And
popping in and popping out.
he's messing with us.
Wait, I
He's
do
just
love
like-
his picture though. He's Gandalf as Santa Claus. That's fucking sick.
He's just like, he's that creepy dude just staring in through your window. Like you're having a party with all your friends. And there's just that one guy you know who's just looking in angrily at you the whole time.
It's like
But like
your
nobody
weird,
else
Roland and I
sees him.
know,
You're the only one.
It's like your weird
Roland and I-
neighbor. Your weird neighbor's just like, hey, you guys having a fire? What's up? He's like peeking over the fence. He's like,
Hey, hi, howdy, neighbor. How you doing?
hey, howdy neighbor, how you guys doing? How you
Wonderful
kids
weather
doing
we're
over there? You
having.
guys having a good time?
Wonderful weather we're having. No.
Good night
You know
for a
what?
fire, guys.
You know the sound a man makes when he gets stabbed in the back?
Yeah, I do.
So I want to ask this to Crimson first because I
Crimson knows what I'm
I know
talking
what
about.
I know what I know what Roland's answer is. I want to know what Crimson thinks. Do you believe in Atlantis, Crimson?
Give me a long
You
pause.
know, look, I will preface it with this. I don't know enough about Atlantis to say definitively whether or not it actually existed.
Fair enough.
It's that is one thing where like I will give it credit that sure it might have existed. Especially because we know absolute like jack fucking shit about what's on the ocean, on the bottom of the ocean. So Atlantis existing, sure, maybe, but I have not seen enough proof to come to a conclusion myself. And that's largely because I haven't looked into it.
Fair enough. Yeah, no,
Yo,
I mean,
I just want to say to Crimson's problem right now. No problem, buddy. Take your time. We'll still be here.
My
yeah.
problem, you mean Pilgrim's problem.
Oh no, Pilgrim's problem.
So
No, my problem is just that I'm autistic and watch too much anime.
So
no, our
here's my
problem,
whole thing
Crimson, is
on
that
this,
you and
right?
I watch too much anime.
This was a conversation that Damio had on his show like last week or like the week prior. Like something came up about how there were like, civilizations before our current one. So I don't think it's too crazy to think that there was this like civilization of like super like advanced people that like were like a lot more advanced than we are now, but then they got wiped out because of something, and then we have no record of it
Floods.
because
Well, that was like the Tower of Babel. Just saying.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Like Crimson's got a point there. Like it we have so many stories about around at the same time, whether it's Atlantis, the Tower of Babel, I forget what they called the city that was originally in where Los Angeles is now, and like all these different cities that like existed that had trade and could travel from place to place, yet they all have, whether you're Native American, whether you're northeastern Europe, whether you're South Europe, whether you're Asia, whether you're Africa, like South America, Antarctica, even like there's people that have talked about this shit happening all around the same time. There was a massive flood. Whether you can say it was true or not, you can't deny that every single one of these different religions has a massive flood that happened. And I fully believe that that did happen. Who's in private chat?
It's Pilgrim.
Oh, well,
oh,
you failed.
you have failed. Nah, but like I I'm
Keep
not
it
against
backstage. I'm working on the sound. He said.
I'm not against there being an, Atlantis. It's just it's something that like
I think there was much of
wouldn't
an
shock.
Atlantis as there was a flood.
Well, yeah, and something that like, Crimson and I know Roland, you also bel believe this too. There's little proof of it that there was a flood, and um that was
There's a
when,
lot of proof of it, actually.
well, I'm saying that was when like Noah's Ark happened, but I actually have a theory that goes beyond that point. I think that there have been massive floods that have never been like documented because they say that the Earth has been here for billions of years. I don't believe that this current crop of our current like civilization is the only people that have ever lived. I sincerely doubt that.
Well, here's what I will say to that point. As far as like pre-Diluvian civilizations, I think they're a whole lot more advanced than what we would like commonly give them credit for.
Well, explain Diluvian to those people who don't.
Pre and post-Diluvian basically means before or after the flood. And that's that's if you are a Bible believing Christian, you believe that the flood happened.
Of the deluge.
I am.
Right.
Yes. So that's what that refers to. Pre-Diluvian civilization, that would be I believe that would be before the Tower of Babel, if I'm not mistaken, or after. Either way, at some point, that would be something I'd need to actually check again because it's been a while since I've read that part. Either way, there's a lot of like once you start getting into like some of like the like texts and stuff surrounding the Jewish and Christian religion, you get to like the Book of Enoch has a whole lot of like wild information in it. You basically have like these stories of like how people were taught to work with metal by like fallen angels and stuff.
Yep.
So like what's to say that they like who's to tell the extent to which they gave mankind this kind of knowledge, and it led to their corruption, which then led to God's declaration that I'm going to destroy my creation.
Well, this is a whole nother conversation, but
yes, but I'm just going to that point that Roman was making, that there definitely were civilizations that are far more advanced than what we give them credit for, and they were very widely spread across the earth. If you
Crimson, you got to come on our show with Daimyo too, then, because we talk about this a lot on the Gatekeepers Daimyo's channel. Shout out. But what you just said, like, I just want to make a quick side note, and we don't have to talk about it, but like, how do you feel real quick about them naming a character in Ahsoka Enoch? How do you feel about that?
Stupid.
Hey, he has audio. I think. Look, I tried to watch Ahsoka.
Have you seen Enoch?
The Golden Mask Stormtrooper, right?
Yeah.
I saw clips of it because I ended up just watching Disparu's reviews instead.
Good.
I saw clips of it. Yeah. And I thought it was stupid. I thought the whole show was stupid. It was like Loki. It was a show that went nowhere.
Yeah.
And like Thrawn was just a bumbling oaf of a villain.
Well, I feel
like nothing in that
series
made sense.
I feel like they were trying to do some crazy biblical like idea, but they did it so wrong that they just used the names of shit. Like by using the name
Oh
Enoch.
God.
There he is.
There he is.
Finally.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I thought you were starting. At
I've got to
7:30
go.
my time.
I got to go. Sorry.
Yeah.
Bye.
Take this guy. Take this guy. So actually, put your face on screen before you leave.
No, I'm good.
I've
Okay,
always
yeah.
seen Pilgrim's face in Discord. Like,
Sorry, guys. I thought you were starting at 7:30 my time.
oh, fuck you.
Well, that's what you say to me every time I stream. So I figured, that excuse will work. And then silence all of a sudden.
I'm not the one who's mad, dude. I don't care.
Oh, Roman was mad?
No, no one was.
Okay.
I'm-
So I
I'm
have
chilling.
Google Earth pulled up on my computer. If you wouldn't mind sharing my screen.
You son of a
This is not-
bitch.
This is not happening again.
If you wouldn't mind.
This is not happening again. No. Nope. Mm-mm.
I think I only know part of the context to this.
I have Bellevue Avenue pulled up.
Shut up, Daniel. Shut up, Daniel. So basically, Crimson, just to shorten it for you. What happened was that I allowed Daimyo to show everyone where I lived last week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, I picked that up after you guys went like ape
And
shit
now-
on Discord last night.
Not you
missed
guys. That was
That was sweet. I went home after work. I got home at 8:30. I got home, made dinner, watched the new episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, and then watched The Hobbit and went to bed. That was it.
what
So I missed
happened?
all of this.
Well, what happened was that Roman had a bad day and couldn't handle my shit and blew up at me, threw around a whole bunch of insults, and I've been waiting for an apology ever since, and I haven't gotten one yet.
Well, to be
Well,
fair, I
you
wouldn't
deserve one.
apologize to you either.
Ronnie needs an apology.
He got his apology. I want mine.
Oh, did he?
On stream
Well.
right now.
Only give him the apology if he shaves that gay ass mustache, okay?
This mustache is fine, dude.
That was literally what I said.
A mustache
but,
was a lot of pussy, all right?
He should shave. No, it doesn't. But he should shave his. He should shave the.
Daimyo gets no pussy confirmed.
He should shave that. I've gotten pussy, so that's enough. He should shave the peach fuzz on his cheeks, chin, and mustache, and then maybe I'll think about shaving my beaner stash.
All right, I can't say anything about that.
Okay, let's move subjects. Let's move subjects. What were
we
we
were
talking-
having we were talking about Atlantis. Well, we
Oh.
were trying to.
Did Rolo already
Um,
bring up the Rishot structure?
I did not. Yeah, no.
That I think is the either that or there's one in the ocean. I forget exactly where that they found a bunch of different.
Off the coast of Mediterranean.
Yeah, those are the two only real, I think, possible locations of Atlantis. We do know, was it Aristotle or was it?
No, it was Aristotle's uncle. I forget his name, but he was banished from Greece, and he found this country that was an island, and they were a seafaring race, and he was able to communicate with them. He lived with them for about 10 to 15 years. Came back, told everybody about it, stuff like that. But then when they went to that location over the past 20 years now that we know of, they went to the location and they actually dredged the area and found bedrock and like actual cobblestone roads under the ocean in that location.
Yeah.
So the cobblestone roads. So is that I guess the biggest proof that like there was a civilization that like
Well, they're
lived in
bricks.
that.
Bricks and screws. No, I'm kidding.
In the Mediterranean, also, didn't they find like other like markings of some like civilizations that were there that have long since been covered by the sea? Because I do remember seeing someone post like a short little documentary on YouTube or something talking about how they discovered like some old like village ruins or stuff under the water, like buildings made out of like cobblestone and that kind of stuff. I don't know how true it is because this would have been years ago.
I think that's the same exact thing I'm talking about.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, the Atlantis one's definitely far out there. I think the Rishot structure, I know Randall Carlson doesn't necessarily agree with Brian Corsetti.
Well, Daimyo, for our layman's here, people who aren't used to hearing this stuff, can you explain to them who Randall Carlson and...
So Randall Carlson is a big proponent of the Younger Dryas theory. He's on Joe Rogan a lot and other podcasts that talk about this kind of alternative archaeology and geology. Well, he's a geologist, I should say that, but he subscribes to this idea of the Great Impact theory, right? That there was this huge meteor 12,000 years ago that hit Earth and kind of displaced culture. And he what I like about Randall Carlson, he brings legitimate science, mathematics, and not so much history, but he brings those two subjects to the table in a very intellectual way. So like he's not just sitting here theorizing. Obviously, what he's saying is rooted in theory, but he actually offers perspective in mathematics and science. Because he's a geologist by trade, so he really understands rock formation and all of this, and erosion and whatnot. So he offers the kind of factual side of it. Brian Corsetti was actually a history teacher at first and just didn't like his job, and I think like roughly 10 years ago decided to start a YouTube channel. If you guys like this stuff, you should go check him out. Super interesting guy. But yeah, Brian Corsetti is on the he thinks that the Rishat structure, which is located it's in the Sahara Desert, and
Sahara,
it's made by, I think it's formed by 5 rings with 4 rings of
say 5, there might be 6, but I think it's 5.
It's a really interesting image, and I promise I won't dox you, Roman. I'm gonna actually bring it up because the Rishat structure is
insane.
Super cool to look at.
It's like the Nazca lines. Like if you've heard about the Nazca lines, it's like something that like why would they be able to do this?
Like I'm saying, they're way more advanced than we give them credit for. They had help from fallen angels.
Yeah.
All right. Roman,
Crimson has a good. I like Crimson's theory here. I really do.
So this is what it looks like today. Oh shit! I always do this.
And that's not a meteor crater, because if it was a meteor crater,
that looks nothing like a meteor crater.
Exactly.
I actually went to the one in Arizona when my family went on vacation.
So did I. Dude, we've both been there. That's awesome.
So he thinks Atlantis was actually like multiple rings of cities, and they had I think I remember them talking about like right around here, because the ocean would have come up pretty close to this around.
Really quick. About how big is this structure? Do we know?
Rolo, would you mind looking up how large is the Rishat structure?
I got you.
So I'm to come off of this, but they thought this would be kind of like a bay of some sort. Water would come into this ridge, and they would have you'd have these rings of cities. So like this outer ring would be ocean. This ring right here where my cursor is going would be a city. There would be another ring of water, and then this ring right here would be part of the city, and they were all connected by bridges, and they'd keep following that pattern.
25 miles across.
Yeah, 20,000 miles across. So
25.
Yeah, 25. Sorry,
20,000 miles would be almost the size of the Earth.
25 miles, 40 kilometers.
So that's
diameter.
That's huge.
And then in the center, they would have like the middle of the city, but everything was connected by bridges. And he thinks this is Atlantis because it was a massive city of trade and culture. And if this was an area where it was covered by water, ships could come up to it. You'd have commerce and trade going on throughout each ring.
And they had locks as well.
Yeah,
just like in what is it down in South America? What is it? Panama Canal. They had canals where you could literally like boost your ship and go farther in. And the interesting thing about this is a lot of people don't know this, but I learned this back in environmental school, like that the Sahara Desert is fully made up of diatoms, and all of the different sands is not actual geological sand. It is fossils in the whole Sahara Desert. And all of these fossils were actually living beings. And we have diatoms to this day that you can see from space once a year. The whole area of the ocean gets this massive band of green, bright green that goes throughout everything, and that's them breeding, right? And then after they breed, they die, and their shells fall to the bottom of the ocean. So there was an ocean that covered the Sahara Desert, and all the sand there at this point in time, including now, all the sand there, every single grain is a fossilized diatom.
Well, we also know that, we know the that the Sahara Desert was lush at one point. It was a lush, like jungle at some point, and that there was, millions of years ago, millennia, that there was ocean there. So that's known. I wanted to bring up though
when you're done though, real fast about the diatoms. When you see the astronauts have talked about this. When the sandstorms happen in the Sahara Desert, they blow over to South America because of the way that the natural winds are on the Earth. So they blow over to South America. South America has the lushest rainforests on the planet. These diatoms are fertilizer for those jungles. So there must have been massive jungles over there at one point in the Sahara. And
well, I don't think it's theorized anymore. I think that they know it.
No, it's proved. It's proved.
Yeah.
It's absolutely proved. You can see it. There's actual footage. If you look up what it looks like, you can see some of the biggest sandstorms literally travel through the winds over to South America and they land there. And that's why the Sahara is so lush, because they're being not fertilized by sand. They're being
the Sahara or the Amazon?
Living beings, dead bodies.
Well, you said that's why the Sahara is lush. It's not lush right now. That's why I'm asking. Is it?
It's not lush right now because we're cutting it down and destroying it.
But that's what I'm saying. The Sahara is already a barren desert.
The Amazon.
That's what I was
He just confused his words.
I know. I was trying to figure it out. I didn't know.
Sorry, my bad. You know what I meant.
Now, what I wanted to bring up about, and there's other things. There's also theories that now I'm doing it, that the Amazon is I'm forgetting the actual soil type that they call it, but there's this black, densely fertile soil in the Amazon that's not everywhere, but I don't remember, but
shit,
they think it's man-made. One of the reasons because there's bits of ceramic in there, and so they obviously that's not natural, having ceramic in your soil, right. But it's that's one of the points they've brought up. But I was going to say, think about in conventional history, the Amazon is known as a trading route, right? Especially the river, that they took boats to drop off, and you had multiple, you had a network of trading going on throughout those different civilizations back then. Well, it would make sense for the Rishat structure if you kind of just think about it on that level, that if there's a bunch of water, obviously trade would be really big back then if they didn't have planes and whatnot like we do today. So I don't necessarily 100% subscribe to the Rishat structure being Atlantis. I don't know enough to even put any type of perspective on it. I don't know geology, and I know that there are some conventional geologists and archaeologists who say that's a natural formation. I know that's
not natural. Earth does not make things perfect.
I was about to say that's way too perfectly circular.
Yeah.
It looks like, and
I'm playing devil's advocate.
I wanted to say this earlier. When it comes to that, it looks like not only is it built for trade, like Daniel was saying, also that structure is great for defense, because now you have layers of city plus a moat plus another layer of city
plus another
moat, and then what looked like an inner city all the way on the inside.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll make a joke right now to Crimson and Roman. Does that not look like Parody from Attack on Titan?
Yeah. Hey, I watched Attack on Titan too. Don't leave me out.
All right, I didn't know you watched it, but does that not look like the city from Attack on Titan?
I don't know it well, but I watched the first couple.
I actually have not watched any. I have not seriously watched.
You know what the city looks like, though, with the rings.
It's Ba Sing Se. It's Ba Sing Se.
Anyway,
Ba Sing Se.
Ba
Sing Se. It literally looks like Ba Sing Se. That's a better explanation.
To get back to the Rishat structure, what it looks like is maybe it's not like the mythical Atlantis everyone thinks of. Perhaps it's just a city that became the basis for the legend that became Atlantis.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Because as we know, as time goes on, these sorts of legends and ideas kind of get blown way out of proportion. We add things to them that maybe weren't there. We fantasize about things. We glorify things. And maybe it was a great city at one point, a center for trade, a really impressive piece of civilization. And as it was forgotten and moved on from over time, people added more and more and more to the legend.
So what you're thinking is that what we think of as Atlantis wasn't like Atlantis, just what this like structure was is what you're saying.
That I can
Yeah.
totally see.
And it kind of has happened to like a provable degree with like the Middle Ages. If you really want like really good, like, or at least where I watched a lot of this information from, Shadiversity does all this stuff talking about the Middle Ages and like how it actually was, because he's a whole medieval enthusiast. And like we've been led to believe that people of the age believed the earth was flat, that they couldn't read, and yada yada yada. But I mean, how did these languages develop if they couldn't read? Peasants could read. They weren't just dirty people. They had cleanliness standards. And
No, they were.
You're a dirty person.
I don't know what you're about to say. We're all waiting for it. Like,
They're called peasants for a reason.
You're a peasant.
plebeians.
I thought you already said they're called Mexicans, but
Anyway, we have imposed our own sort of like fantasized version of history on a lot of these things. Who's to say we haven't done that to Atlantis?
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I 100%
I mean, Damio talks about on his show, right? The ancient civilizations that were probably smarter than we are now. I think that's what Atlantis was. Nothing legendary like the Disney movie or anything like that. But I think that's what it was. And is it possible that one of the cities fell into the sea? Absolutely.
Well, I think they're smarter in different ways. I don't think that they were smarter in the sense that we think of today, right? Like they might have had different forms of mathematics. One of the things that Randall Carlson talks about is the use of sacred geometry. And I'm not about to try to explain it and butcher it, because he actually has a very thought out way of explaining it. Like there are specific things in sacred geometry where if you apply sacred geometry to the pyramids, the amount of stones, the height, the weight, they add up in a representation that you could add to like the distance between Earth and the sun. And that stuff is unexplainable, really. So I think I'll throw in my.
Don't they also line up to like true north as well?
Yeah. Not only that, they line up with constellations specifically, and when a specific constellation, is in, and I don't know constellations well, but there's one that has to do with a lion. When it's visible, the constellation of Leo, when it's in view of the pyramids, it lines up perfectly with like if you were standing at the Sphinx, you could see it perfectly in the sky.
And where are lions from? Africa. And what is the Sphinx based off of? A lion with a human's face.
Well, okay, well that's what we have now, but there's a theory by these people that the Sphinx originally had the head of a lion, and a pharaoh decided to chop it down and shape it into the head of the pharaoh that time, because the head is much smaller than the body itself. Yes, so it's one of these, but that kind of goes, it ties into the idea that like, why would the Sphinx line up perfectly with the constellation of Leo, right? And like
that's too much to be a coincidence.
It is. So it's one of those things that I'm hoping gets solved within my lifetime, so I can sit there and tell everyone who called me a crazy.
Unfortunately. I hope it does, because we have people like Jimmy Corsetti out there who are. Really
I've been calling him Brian this whole time. Why didn't you correct me? I knew it was some common white person name.
It's Jimmy. We have people
Brian.
like Jimmy out there.
Well, don't you have like a common Mexican name like Juan?
Well,
You could call him Benny. Call him Benny.
Whoa,
Well-
don't dox me. That's
no,
not.
he said you docked yourself. He
I
did
don't
not
want to.
say.
I don't want to be doxxed. All
He didn't
right.
say your real name.
Anyway, so
He didn't
this
say your real name.
there's one little example of what Daimyo's saying, like they were smarter than us in different ways. This is another thing I heard on the internet, and I never really like checked to see if it's true, but there was this story.
What do you mean?
There
It's on
was
the
this
internet.
story
It's
I
true.
heard. Yeah, it's always on the internet. There was a
Nikki's
story I
here.
heard
Oh my god.
that like we had like people were struggling to figure out like how the Roman Empire had discovered a way to make their concrete more resistant to seawater. And
Heard
like
this, yeah.
for the life of them, they couldn't figure it out. Well, to the Romans, it was simple. When you talked about making concrete, you added seawater into the mixture, which we didn't do. Now, I don't know if this story was true, but it got passed around the internet quite a bit on a few circles that I was in at the time. So,
Yeah, the Rishot structure is one of those. I don't think there's enough information out there as to what it could be. Right now, it's just like okay. I think there's an argument to think about too. Like if they start doing some serious excavation and find artifacts, that should explain it, right? I mean, you got places like Göbekli Tepe, and there's these massive stone, like carved out stone structures, megalithic structures. I would say if this place was Nikki, if this place was a city,
we don't need no women around here.
Of that
Go
time,
back to the kitchen.
Jesus Christ, Crimson. If this was a city of that time period, I would think that there would be similar archaeological findings as there are in Turkey and Egypt, right? Like massive
Are we
stone.
not allowed to look at the Rishkar structure right now?
I think you're right. That could explain why.
I'm pretty sure we're not. Like, no one's allowed to excavate it at the moment.
There's a lot of sites like that over in like northern Africa and like the Middle
Dude,
East.
there's a site like that right in Ohio. You can't
Like-
do anything with a certain mound.
Like I think Mount Sinai and Mount Ararat, like you can't go up on those mountains. They like the governments who control those areas don't allow you to. And both of those
So
are kind of
it's
important
something-
religious sites if you know anything about, the Bible and all of that.
Yep. So this is something that I've kind of thought of though too, and it's something like along Daimyo's point is that like there in certain ways like I'm not
Crimson, are you okay? Are you? We're not Crimson, fucking Pilgrim. Are you okay?
It sounded like someone just like chloroformed him there.
Crimson or Pilgrim just died. He
I
killed
think he's eating corn the long way.
himself.
my man just got Riddlered. Nah.
Unmute
But so like
just for that.
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper now. You'll need to chill out.
You're good at that.
Nikki came in chat. He just lost it for a second. That's it, boys. It's all right. We had
So,
a
like-
female in chat, so he was like,
Can I
No
talk,
com-
please,
No
Roland?
comment. No comment.
So anyway,
so like I guess my thing is, and I'm coming at this more so from someone who has faith. Like I've read the Bible, and it's something that like it doesn't say in there after God like created Earth exactly when like he created what we know as the human race. So my whole point about like what Damio said was they probably were advanced, but I don't think it was in a technological way that they had the better technology than what we had now. It was in like more like practical ways, like how humans now, most of us can't live without our phones, but people back back in those days, they didn't have to worry about that kind of thing. Like the Earth would crash quite literally if Wi-Fi just like died. Like we would not know what to freaking do. Whereas
Oh,
like back in those days, it'd be fine. So they were probably more advanced in terms of like survival, not like technological stuff.
I don't know, bro. If
That's
Wi-Fi
kind of,
just crashed tomorrow, me and Star Wars Dog will be out there hunting.
but like I'm just saying, I think they were probably more advanced in the way of like knowing how to survive. That's like kind of my theory.
Well, yeah, but they
Like
were in a
not
different form of civilization. I don't think, like, here's the one thing everybody forgets, except for like, I mean, Damio and I have talked about it, so I'm not gonna say he forgets it, but like, the one thing we will forget is like, they built the freaking pyramids that we still can't do. We still cannot do that.
Well, people like to say we can, but no one else has attempted it or tried.
Exactly.
Right? It's kind of humorous to me that it's like, okay, you're gonna sit there and dispute it, but not one civilization or not civilization, not one country has attempted to do this ever before.
Yep.
With the same process and same materials as they claim is how it's done. I guess there's an argument that you
And
can't.
there's open structures within
Well,
that.
but there's an argument that you can't enslave thousands of people and force them to do this, right? Which is
whatever.
Well, you can. It's just frowned upon.
Exactly. Like, I don't know who's going to stop you, right?
Yeah, we had one chance in 1942, and he didn't do it.
Okay, all right.
One chance? No, we had two chances. There was this whole.
Oh, sorry, we're not
thing
on my
we fought.
channel.
Well, America doesn't have pyramids because the Confederacy lost. Okay.
No, we destroyed a lot of the pyramids in North America, and a lot of the pyramids across the planets have been destroyed. But why do they exist? And I'm not getting onto that topic. But what I'm saying is, it's still physically impossible. We have looked into so many different ways of being able to do it that, first of all, there's not a reason for us to do it. What was the reason for them to do it? What was the reason for them to put structures inside it, which we know that there are by seismographs? We know that there are open cavities within inside that area. Why would we do that now? And then how the frick did they do it, and why did they do it? Like, it doesn't. There's no reason for you to put that much manpower to that when you can make a full city, but you put that much manpower towards making a giant pyramid. Like, there's a reason that you did that.
Well,
and they're also in line with constellations. Why did you do
it's
that?
clearly some billionaire who just wanted to build a pyramid because, like the billionaires we have today, they just want to go to space.
Okay, look, in an honest perspective,
It could honestly be that stupidly simple.
Well, but look, they've said that the Great Pyramids in Giza at least are tombs for pharaohs, but they've changed the location of the tomb of the pharaoh's tomb inside of the pyramid.
Because no one's been there, Damian.
No, I think 3 times. No, they have, and they've just found another section in the Great Pyramid that they're now calling the king's quarters or whatever you want to call it. Right, where the king's buried. So why do they keep changing it, and why do they keep finding stuff that they didn't? I don't think there's an explanation for what these pyramids were. Like I think this actually goes to the point that the pyramid, we still don't know what the use of these pyramids were, and we don't know who actually built them yet, because it's probably closer to the reason that like the Egyptians that we know of through history just repurposed these structures.
Yeah, because Akhman Ra was in there and he was about to be resurrected. And then...
Yeah.
No, was it
That's
Imhotep? Imhotep. Imhotep was about to be resurrected, and it became.
Isn't that like a rapper?
Isn't that the guy from The Mummy?
That's the guy from The Mummy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He's also a rapper. There's a rapper with the name Imhotep.
So I am really tired. I kind of forgot who said it. Either it was Roland or it was Daimyo, but one of you said that the pyramids being like built that we don't have the like materials for it now
That
or
was me.
something.
That was me.
Yes.
I
Is it
said
that
we
we
don't
don't
have
have
the
the
means to do it.
We don't have the means. No. I was saying, look, we obviously have the materials. They were built out of stone, granite, I think, or limestone specifically. But we don't have the means to cut the size of the blocks that they use. They use
right?
like
Okay.
2 ton to sometimes 10-ton stones on the inside, and that's even harder than putting a 2-ton stone on the outside of it. And how do you cut? Like, so Rolo, you worked concrete, and
Yeah.
I've worked landscaping. It's fucking hard to cut a 4-inch stone, flat stone,
Dude.
with a concrete saw.
Dude,
So how do
it's
you do
hard
that?
to cut.
Well, but how do you do that 2,000 years ago with a stone that's 10 feet wide?
Well,
Tell me how you
it's
get a
hard
straight
to
cut on
even not even that. It's hard enough for me to cut a 2-inch area of melted asphalt because
Right.
of the way that it works.
But the point I'm trying to
Like-
make though is that they say that we hammer and chiseled it with bronze tools, iron and bronze. They say that we hammer and chiseled it, but you don't get.
Bullshit.
I don't know if you've hammer and chiseled.
I can't
before.
do that with steel.
You don't get clean cuts, and the idea is that you like tap a bunch of different areas, and then you do one solid hit, and it cracks naturally. But if you used that process for the amount of stones that are in the pyramid, it would take something like 600 years to build. But
Yeah.
we know that like that's for one. We know there's like 118 different pyramids in Egypt. It just doesn't make sense when you start adding up all the numbers.
And like I said, I can't even do that with solid steel. When I was cutting for work, like you couldn't even make a clean cut with a chisel with solid steel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I've
I
used like
get-
these cold
I'm
chills,
sorry,
like these
continue.
sort of stone chisels and stuff for like clearing stuff out of the way. Just tiny little things can be a huge pain in the ass to clear out of the way. Takes
Yeah,
a lot of
so
work to use those things.
I guess I I guess my question is, are you guys saying that they had more like advanced tools
I'm
to
still going
help
with
them
I'm
to
I'm
like
So-
build these pyramids?
vibration.
I think so, Roman, and they've also found what appears to be so there are cuts in stones that are visible today in Egypt that have a concave, like they start at one end shallow and then they get deeper. That only happens if you have a circular saw. So if you've ever cut into wood or even stone today, a concave cut only happens when you have a high-powered drill with a circular bit. Like you'll never have a cut like that if it was a straight saw. It would always be even as you're cutting. But with these cuts that they're finding in Egypt in limestone, it's shallow at the ends and it gets deeper as it draws in. So that only happens with a circular blade. And I would argue that who knows? It might not be a solid piece of steel. It could be a high-powered like ring that they somehow figured out how to build. But again, there shouldn't be power back then, right? Not in the sense that we have now. They could have hydraulic power, like a hydraulic-powered saw of some sort, where you're pushing in a bunch of water through some sort of a mechanism that allows a circular saw
How do you get it that high
to
though?
move.
How do you get it
Right.
that high though?
That's a different argument. He was just asking if we thought we had tools, and I would argue there's evidence that there were high powered tools. So like we were going over on my stream the other day of the boneyard in Alaska. There are tusks that are 4 to 6 inches thick, and they're straight cut, and it looks like someone cut it in half and dug the bone marrow out of it. But like that was, again, when was the last time mammoths were in North America?
Yeah.
That was pre-Ice Age, right? Ice Age and pre-Ice Age. So why would they even have a saw at that point? Not even talking power tools. Why would they even have a saw where they could cut through bone like that easily in that?
Well,
case?
it couldn't have been us because we wiped out all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Spears and arrows.
Yeah, it's very this stuff's fascinating.
The question I have though is, you said it was made out of limestone, right?
Mhm.
That's what the pyramids are made of. Well, I from what little geology I know, I do happen to know that limestone generally tends to form caves because it's weak to acids. So, is there like some sort of plausibility to the idea that, because we do know that at least older civilizations, I don't know if civilizations as ancient as the ones that built the pyramids, would have been able to know this, but is there some sort of like way they may have had some sort of chemical knowledge to be able to make something that would allow them to work with these stones?
I think so, yes, but at the same time, I'm not. We're not chemists. We don't know the chemical makeup of stone. We don't know how difficult it is to make a chemical that can cut through that. But that doesn't explain the circular saw cuts that I was talking about before too, right?
True.
It would have to be something that we don't understand. Like, they might have been able to physically figure out a way to do this that we just don't get now. Like, we're doing so many things with technology. They might have had a way to do it. They might have, like the way that it's going to sound stupid, but the way that I acclimate saltwater fish to freshwater or to saltwater is I use a drip technique. Which was like a drip line from saltwater to get them ready for their saltwater. It might be the same thing. They might use a drip line that we don't know about. We don't know how they do it, anything like that. But it might take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years for them to use a drip line to get things to go. You know what I mean? Like, it might be something completely different. This isn't instant. No matter what, this isn't instant. So they might be doing something that is a like some sort of some sort of technology that we just don't ever think of, that we never would have thought of. That was just what they had to work with. And
Do you guys buy into the whole alien thing?
No.
If the aliens built the pyramids?
I comply to the thought that there is something else that helped them figure it out, because I still always go back to the Nazca lines.
I think we don't. I think there's more evidence of human involvement other than aliens. I think there's more evidence of that.
I think they got some guidance, and I've said this earlier on stream. Like, you go to the Book of Enoch from the Bible, and it talks about how like these fallen angels like guided humanity to learn all of this stuff.
Sure.
I
like
would
mathematics.
Yes, I would wager that if that's to be believed, that maybe to some extent that was involved in this as well. Like, maybe they didn't have a direct hand in it, but maybe these people were in contact with something of a higher power.
Well, they had their gods.
Had the knowledge to give them this kind of like these kinds of ideas, provide them with technological solutions that they actually would have been able to use.
I agree with that, Crimson. Yeah, like I think that through a religious standpoint, like, yeah, like they're whether you believe that the fallen angels were legitimate fallen angels or you believe that they were extraterrestrials, like, something was there. Like, something pushed us in the right direction.
Yes.
Because for you to be able to make a giant ant that's miles long but looks like an ant from space in South America at Nazca, at the Nazca lines, like, you needed to have somebody in the air to make these hieroglyphics. These are mild wide hieroglyphics that exist from space. You can see them all from space. Something helped humans make that. Because there's no fucking way. You tell me, go in my backyard and draw an ant without any problem. Like, to get it, like, it's gonna look like this.
That's
like,
a really good point, actually, Roland.
Like, it's not going to look symmetrical. It's not going to look good. These are symmetrical. These look perfect. And there's no way that a human being or a group of human beings made this without somebody in the air telling them, "Yep, good shit." And it could have been us already have figured out flying. Who the fuck knows? I'm not saying it's alien.
Well, how hard is it to make a hot air balloon?
That's what I'm saying. It's not. So they might have done that beforehand. So I'm not saying it's aliens. I'm not saying it's not humans. I'm just saying like there's no fucking way that you are making these mile-long structures that are perfectly symmetrical that it takes me days to walk from the head to the fucking tail of an ant or a bird or a spider or a human or all these other different what do they mean? That's the other thing. Why make these specific structures? But they're there, and it must have taken tons of manpower to move these rocks to make this structure. So there was somebody up there telling you you're doing it the right way. All right, good job.
That would probably be me if I was living back then.
Yeah, of course it would.
I'd definitely be the guy designing and just
Yes, and you tell them to make a giant
instructing it.
penis on the ground.
Look,
That's just Earth. Like the aliens look at Earth and it's just a big ass cock, and they're just like, nice. All right, we're gonna go
Save it
hang
for
out.
Wednesday, boys.
That's Being Crimson had to say, or not Crimson, Pilgrim had to say, it's just like,
well, I have a god complex, and I think
Facts.
I'd be the smartest person back then.
Yeah, not facts.
All right, listen, guys. Thank you for having me on, and I got to get going. Rolo, you gonna be in Discord later?
yeah, I'll be in Discord like probably after.
That's
this
fine
video.
because I was saying that we wrap stream because I gotta be up in like 5
Well,
hours.
whose Discord are we going to? Are we going on your Discord?
No, just go to Hangar Bay. I'll meet you guys there.
Well, Crimson's not in Hangar Bay, is he?
No, I'm not.
We'll just talk to Caleb. We can go in mine. Doesn't matter. Just go in any of them. I'll show up. Well,
all right. Well, Crimson, you're in Damio's dojo.
Thanks, guys.
I'll send you the invite to Hangar Bay.
Oh, before I leave, Roman, can I quickly just get an apology from you for last night?
I don't
what,
know
bro?
what happened. Roman, don't look at me. I literally have zero idea what's going on.
I'm waiting.
Okay, well,
my
first-
mustache needs an apology.
First of all, Roland, he told me, and it can either be you or Zach. Damio told me that one of you told him the apartment number that
Yep,
I
it was
live in.
Rolo. It was Rolo.
I don't fucking have
And,
your apartment number.
That's what I'm saying.
I DM'd
That was what I
Zach.
was
He
saying.
told me. He told me.
Zach's picked you up to bring you to my house more than fucking anybody.
Right. No, but so like I was mean to you, Damio, and I had a bad day yesterday, and there was no reason for me to say the things that I said.
It starts with
I'm
an
sorry.
A.
Don't say it.
Thank you. That's all I wanted. I will hold this over your
Wow.
your head for as long as I can. Thank you both of you for
Disappointed
having
in
me
you.
on your show.
I'll see you on Wednesday, buddy.
You will. All right.
Yeah, I'll see you in the
Later,
Discord.
guys.
All right. Anybody else? Crimson. By the way, I did want to thank you for having me on the show the other night.
No, it's always
That was
fun having
so
you
much
on.
fun. I would love to do that more.
Crimson, we have to make like an animated DC video or something. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I'd be down, dude. I've got plenty of opinions on the animated DC stuff, especially what we get nowadays.
Okay then. Cool.
Well,
So
what are you doing after this?
Me?
Yeah.
Not much. I mean, before I joined in here, I was cutting up that stream. I was going to make a compilation of all the times the three of us bullied Mando while we were on the stream. So
you feel like going live for a little bit
on my channel? I don't care. Or on anyone's channel.
Yeah, you want to go live on your channel?
I don't mind. Just do something random late night.
Yeah, let's do a random late night. You want to Dude, just shoot me the invite. We'll be done here in a few minutes. So like,
All right.
shoot me the invite.
We'll be done in like
I'll go grab myself another
quite
Arizona
literally.
iced tea, and I'll be good to go.
I'm gonna go grab some
we'll be done in
chocolate
like
chip cookies.
literally like 2 minutes because I'm literally about to like.
Yeah, I know
I'm
you
literally
got
about
stuff
to
to do tomorrow.
fall
I got
asleep.
work. I don't have. Luckily, they did not schedule me until 10 o'clock, but I'm
You're
gonna be
lucky,
working
bro.
from 10 to 9 o'clock, so it's gonna be a long day. I worked my ass off all weekend. From Friday, I was working 8 to 9 every day, so they gave me a good little break of a couple hours and a day off. So,
Nice.
but yeah, I have some time to stream if you want to stream for a little bit.
Sure, let's do it. Just
Yeah,
talk
awesome.
some random anime shit or whatever.
Yeah, did you watch the new JJK episode?
I have not watched. Look, I've been watching dubs, so I'm kind of like 2 weeks behind the subs.
Gotcha.
So I am just at the one where it is Megami versus Toji and Sukuna versus Jogo.
Jojo.
So
Yeah.
everything's about to go fucking nutty.
Oh, dude, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Well, guys, I just want to say thank you for tuning in to another Monday Night Mayhem.
Wait.
And-
Pilgrim, you want to say anything?
Kick him.
Subscribe to Ronnie. Go to Ronnie Studios.
Yes.
That's it.
Go to Ronnie Studios. Go check him out.
and subscribe to our friend Ronnie, and we'll be back on Christmas. So yeah, until next time.
For this episode, we will still be there for the Roller Room cast.
Of course, yeah, of course.
Monday
We have
Mayhem
our
will be back on Christmas. So
yeah.
we'll
have
be
our
doing
usual
a
schedule.
Christmas stream. So if anybody is doing nothing, if you guys were with your family and you needed to get out of the house and you're done with dealing with all your family members and stuff like that, we'll be there. So
Yeah, I'll probably hop on.
yeah. So
Doing
you
a
guys
Christmas stream,
let
I
us
might be
know.
able to make it. Depends on whether my whole extended family does Christmas stuff.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
it's not going to be anything super crazy. It's going to be like a chill stream for everybody to come on. We're not going to do anything crazy conspiracies or anything like that, like we usually do. We just want to be able to have our, have our community. Well, I should say fellowship, because I don't like the word community because it sounds too much like communism. Our fellowship will come on, and you know what? We'll just hang out. And if you guys have nothing to do on Halloween, what the fuck? I'm retarded. If you guys have nothing to do on Christmas, come on, hang out with us. Just chill out.
Come on, what?
We'll drop the link if you even want to come on and just say anything, as long as it's not the N word. I don't give a shit. So yeah, let's hang out, have a good time, and after that, I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know it's a couple days after that, but hope you got all your good sales on Black Friday. Got your Cyber Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
I'm hoping my stuff
Oh,
gets
yeah.
here by Saturday so I can unbox all that stuff on stream.
Hell yeah, you got
I,
your sideshow collectibles. You got your anime figures,
got
your
a-
manga. Everybody,
I got a
you guys rock.
four-
Thank you for watching. Nikki
got a
Nikki
four-
was here, by the way, so shout out to Nikki and her channel.
just one more.
Yeah, she's over
just
there on.
One more
You're
quick
never gonna
thing
get a word in.
Oh shit! I'm losing my
before
mind.
we wrap. One more thing before we wrap, boys. We've gotten 3 subs since we started.
Hey,
You're
that's
welcome.
It's actually really cool.
subs.
Yeah. So
Which, by the way,
now
if
we're
you
at
ain't
100
subscribed to these guys up here, they're rad. They do some fun stuff. Roland's been on stream with me. They're cool people. If you're not subscribed and you find yourself listening to this, what are you doing? Hit the button. It's
And
free.
go and subscribe to King's Advisors, Gatekeepers Daimyo, the Salty Inferno. That's Nikki Nikki.
Don't
That's the
subscribe to
Salty
Daimyo.
Inferno. Go sub to her.
Yeah.
John Graber, the
Skip
Space
Skip that
Jock.
one.
Do
X-Wing,
not
of
subscribe
course.
to.
I'm going to show myself. You can find me at Crimson Law.
Hell yeah.
And you guys all
And
know
yeah,
where to
fucking
find me.
subscribe to Crimson Law. I'm on there with him. We talk anime. We have a lot of good fun. It's not even just anime all the time either. Like we have some good fun. And honestly, Crimson, if you want to host it after this, we'll be on Crimson Law right after this. So if you guys are bored and you got nothing to do, come on over and hang out with us.
I'll be listening in my sleep. Until next time, y'all.